What's up, everyone? This is Jurns of Us, episode 2. We left off talking about our first placement, and now we're moving on to our second placement, which is Bella. So let's talk about Isabella coming into our home. So Aaron was 4 months old. And we were both at work. I got a phone call saying that there was a baby girl whose mom was homeless at the time and needed a place to stay. It was only supposed to be for 10 days. It was a temporary placement. Mm-hmm. So I then told the agency, please hold. I need to call my wife. So I called Tiff on the phone. Yeah. And I said, the agency just called and they got a baby girl. And she immediately shut me down.
Nope. I said, nope.
You said no. And I said, but she's homeless. She needs a place to stay. No.
And
then I was like, but, and then she goes, no, Lay. And I completely shut down. I was really quiet on the phone, and she's just like,
hello? Hello? She would not hang up. And I'm like, oh my God. I said, I don't know how we're going to do this. I don't know how we're going to do this. And at the time we still had 2 older ones in the house.
And no, they were both there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 2 older teenagers in the house. Mm-hmm. And then we had Erin.
Who was 4 months old.
4 months old. And then she's coming to me and saying, hey, let's do another. And I'm just like, nah, I'm good. We're set now. So after some talking, she convinced me to do another. So let's talk about Bella.
So then I called the agency back and I said, okay, details.
The details of what?
So obviously you ask your questions that you're going to ask because that's what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And then details as far as when is this child coming? How long do we have to prepare? So legitly, this was at 2-something.
She was high.
And we had to meet the worker at the hospital at 5:00.
Yeah. So, and then with all of that, so they give you kind of a roundabout of things that's going on, like a small summary of what's going on, history and all that other stuff. And they told us over the phone that we get to name her. Remember that? That
right,
whole debacle.
The baby didn't have a name, and at that time the mom was refusing to give her a name.
Right. So that debacle was crazy, and because they won't release the baby without a name, right?
No, they can. I think they have. I think it's either 7 or 10 days to. I think it's 7. Mm-hmm. Where the mom can come up with a name and they can send in the birth certificate or whatever. But we didn't find out about that whole thing until she had to be 7, maybe almost 2 weeks old. Mm-hmm. When we found out that, she has a name.
Right. And we were
like, wait, what?
Because we already have a name. We're naming her.
We named her. Right? So, yeah. But we got to the hospital. We rushed home. I went to the store and got some outfits for her.
And nothing against agencies and stuff like that. you know, I mean, hell, we're not with part of an agency anymore. But I don't want to dog the agency either. Kids come with nothing.
No, but this is why they prepare you, and when you're doing your foster care classes, that you should have something for every age group, right? And we knew that our target ages were newborns.
Yeah,
we
newborn
knew that.
to
3. Yeah. That was it. So, we had everything we needed for Aaron, but wasn't really 100% prepared for a little girl, right? If it was we were, because we still had April stuff that she had given us.
Yes.
But like as far as a car seat and another crib and stuff like that, so we basically had to scramble and get that stuff. So we went to the store, we got a car seat, and we got some clothes for her. We already had bottles at the house, and like we had stuff that for a newborn, diapers and stuff like that. But when it came down to like the formula and stuff, it was the hospital giving it to us until we were able to get enough to last. Right. Get signed up for WIC and all that.
Love you too. I can say I love
you. And so
if you hear breaks, it's because our son in the background is going to sleep. So we're just telling him we love him and good night.
So then by 6:30 at night, we had a newborn and a 4-month-old.
Yeah, that was, to me, I was a little scared.
That was a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
Of course, I did the FMLA for me to stay home until we got her situated with daycare, till she was old enough. Because with Aaron, we did split shifts.
We did, yeah.
We did split shifts with Aaron, and with Bella, I actually took time off to get her where she needed to be. And she was 5 pounds, 18 inches long, a head full of hair.
Yeah, if you're listening to this and you know who Bella is, she had like this curly.
No, at first it was straight.
Yes, you're right. It was straight.
It was like Indian hair.
It was so beautiful
silky.
too. Yeah, it was.
And she was the perfect complexion.
She was a beautiful like, little baby too.
Caramel.
Yeah.
Like that's the best way I could describe it. Like she was just so pretty.
Yeah.
And like she's was
still
so
beautiful.
She is. She was so soft and so tiny. Not as tiny as Aaron though.
Right.
But she had a head full of hair. And she settled in pretty quickly. I mean, we kind of got a routine down packed. The only difference with her is that she was colic. So she was up from 12 midnight to 4 in the morning. She made sure
she was up from 12 to 4 every day. And she made you aware that she was in the building.
She was always a screamer.
Yeah. And Aaron wasn't.
No, Aaron was not.
Aaron
despite
some of his health
issues, he was not a crier. Bella was a crier.
Aaron ate well. Bella ate very well.
Yes.
After we got the situation with Aaron, once we figure out what was going on,
he was fine.
He was fine after that. Gained weight and everything. I remember, and we'll get into some of Bella medical issues. I remember when we used to take them out. They're like, "Are they twins?" Remember that?
Oh my God! I'm like, but one's
white. Not even that. They don't even look alike.
No, and then we would look at each other like, but one's white and one's black.
And I'm
like, what are we doing?
It was just. It came to a. Come on, y'all. Right. Are y'all serious?
Right.
Are you guys looking at the same thing we're looking at? And not that we care any about that.
No, but still, like.
I remember we were at the mall and we're get shoes for, I think it was Alyssa for school, and we had the buggy, and I was sitting there with them, and the lady came. Oh my God, are they twins? And I'm looking. I just started going with it. Yeah, they are. So much. They sure are. Yeah, I was just over explaining. Come on, you can't be. Are you pranking me? Yeah. So,
and Bella, I mean, despite the colicness, she was such a happy baby.
She was. No, definitely. She was a happy baby.
Such a happy. She loved Aaron.
She did.
She loved
every time she seen him, she would smile.
And it just was like, it just seemed so...
They couldn't do nothing without one another. They would have tea part. Like, they would just...
Yeah.
They have the happiest childhood, to let them tell it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But her court case...
No, I wasn't even going there. I was going.
Okay.
I was going. So
her medical?
Yeah. So, Aaron and Bella, of course, had separate cribs, and we noticed the one time that when we put Bella down, prior to that, move around, and then we put her down, and she stayed in the one spot, and Leilani was just like, okay, there's something going on here.
Yeah.
Like, a child is going to move around. And I don't even think we had her wrapped at that time.
No, she was beyond that time of being wrapped. And this is before the sleep sacks really, really were popular. And, like, you would lay Bella down and, like, not even, you always think about babies rolling, right? And the fear is always rolling off the bed or off the couch. And we didn't have to worry about that with Bella, and it was strange to me.
When you brought it up to the pediatrician,
caseworker, yeah. Well, I brought it up to the caseworker first, and I remember Bella being 3 months old, and she was such a talkative baby. Okay, she was loud. Bella is loud, and still to this day, she is very loud. Her whispers are no whispers. And so
we just noticed.
She just stopped doing that.
Yeah,
stuff.
She stopped doing the cuckoo. What is it called? Cooing?
Yeah, she stopped doing that. She would just go into these like blank stares, and you would call her name and she would not respond.
So we also asked if the family had a history of seizures, right?
Well, we asked the county worker about the family history because of that concern. And when I brought it up to the county worker and said, I'm concerned, I think, there's something wrong. And she's like, well, you're just a foster mom.
So this is what I wanted to point out when it came to that, because that's why I brought the story up, is because don't let them belittle you. Don't let them tell you you're just a foster mom. Don't let them tell you that at all. Because we are their voices. When they're babies, I'll turn it down some. When they're babies, we're there with them. We are waking up with them. You are not us. I'm saying we because we're talking about this story, but you are waking up with them. You see what they don't see. So you're going to have to be the voice, because I'm telling you right now, if it wasn't for more Leilani fighting, and I say Lay because Leilani is, when something's stuck in her head, it's just in there. She fought for this. And it was just, it was a long fight trying to explain to them, this is what we're seeing. You're not seeing that. We seen prior to her moving, like trying to speak, baby talk, and she went from doing that to not doing it. And we seen it. It was just like, okay, what just happened there? Like, you got kind of nervous,
right? And it was like that until she was almost a year.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember going to my mom's house, and she was a baby, and leaving her on the couch, and my mom's yelling at us like, "Don't leave her on the couch. She's not going to go anywhere."
She's not going to
go
go
anywhere. And I'm like, Mom, she's really not going to go
and
anywhere.
It's
And
surprisingly, it's sad. But yeah, we even had to fight because even Bella had a wandering eye. We had to fight that. Remember?
Yes. Bella had a very weak muscle in her eye, which caused her
Bella
eye.
had the most surgeries.
She has.
She had 3, right? She had a wandering eye. She had surgery on her adenoids. She had something else, I thought. No?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I thought it was something else.
No.
Okay, maybe. She still had the most.
She, so it caused her eye to go, inward. And there would be times.
Was it in?
Yeah, it would go inward. And she would be looking with this eye straight.
Mm-hmm.
But
you're
then
right.
This eye would be in.
Because I remember we lived on a certain street, and she was on Alyssa's bed with her
1-year birthday.
Yeah, and her eye
was
in. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. And then after that, I want to say
she had surgery after that.
Because did they want to wait till she was 1?
They wanted to wait till
see if
she
it
was
was kind of
1
correct
to see
itself?
if it would correct itself right. But it didn't, and we had to go through therapy, of course, like with the patching of the eye and trying to strengthen. But those methods didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So she had it when she was a year old.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
her baby was going. She went through a lot. She did. And with so Aaron also has siblings, and so does Bella. Excuse me. Outside of our household. And here's the thing about, and we could say this now. Here's the thing about that, like, voice your concerns when it comes to that and comes to the visits and all of that, and because if not, they're just going to think everything is hunky-dory.
Well, and this is the thing I learned, is we are their voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and if we don't voice our concerns and what we think are their concerns, they're just going to walk all over you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to kind of be the aggressor in the situation.
Right.
And kind of just say, hey, no, it's not okay. This is not normal. This is not, in the best interest, or whatever the case may be. I have learned to be more than a mama bear, just because we had a really bad county worker who forced my hand to come out of quote unquote pocket.
It's always great to have great workers, right? Because everything
county worker was phenomenal.
We can shout her out if you want.
Shannon
was the bomb. Not to be quite honest with you, we've had a lot of situations where people will talk to us and trust us with a lot of stuff. Like, they would say things to us and we wouldn't repeat anything. Mm-mm. They confided in us with certain things. I love her. He's not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. He's not leaving this household. But
she also was very honest with us, and she was just like, I'm not sure if he's going to be okay here. Right? And like, she was concerned because 1, he was so tiny, 2, with the background, and 3, like, are we going to be a good fit for him?
Right. Because of who he was.
Right. And quickly she realized, no, this is the home for him.
And here's the thing about that too. I know we're jumping back and forth with Bella and Aaron, because sometimes when we have a conversation, it sparks up stuff, right? So me and Leilani, when we came into this, we've talked about, me saying I wanted a black child, whatever. And that quickly turned because to the point I was like, that's my son. When he came into our house, I was like, that's it. I don't care. And now they're trying to put families with black families, white kids with white kids. I understand all of that. But
I do too, but
I don't care.
at the same time.
I don't care.
This is the thing. A child is a child.
Right.
Right. And they need a home. And if I have a spot and I'm saying yes to you, and I get that they have to match profiles, right? What fits.
But they're really doing it now.
But now it's a little
it's
too
different.
Excessive,
it's different.
And I don't know why they're being so selective. There's hardly any more foster homes.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, let me rephrase that. There are foster homes, but not a lot of good
foster homes. This is why, and maybe, yes, we're going to toot our own horn. 14 years of being in foster care, and we're going to get back to Isabella. 14 years of being in foster care, me and Leilani is to the point that we're done. We're tired. Because, I don't know if I said this in the last pod, how are we going to, we have 2 small ones now, 5 and 6, and we have 2 11-year-olds. I'm not bringing another 11-year-old in here to disrupt.
Right, and maybe we'll get into that more, because that would be things that people would have to consider.
Yeah, right.
Right. When
we have 2 different age groups in our house.
Right.
And I don't want a baby.
Realistically,
a baby get another baby
would be.
Yeah. And I'm 52 and I don't want a little baby. I'm sorry. At some point, I always tell Ilana, at some point I'm going to retire and I want to take a trip without my children. And she's just like, well, I don't know if you're going to do it. Well, you stay here. I'm taking a trip. How about that? So anyway, getting back to Bella.
Yeah, so with Bella, I think it was close.
Did I talk about the time when the lady told me I couldn't have a baby? Did we talk about that? Okay. Sorry.
Was it for?
Right, yes, okay.
So with Bella, I think it was almost a year. She stood up in her crib.
Oh my God, yeah.
I woke up one morning, she's happy smiles.
We're like, wait
her
a
little
minute.
laugh that she used to do. And
it's like, where's she standing?
I was just like, oh my God, she's standing.
Hey, speaking of Bella. Hello.
I'm rubbing these.
Okay. Love you.
Good night.
So this might happen when we're recording these episodes, because we have children. We try to do it when they're upstairs, and yeah. So that's our life.
So she started standing in her crib. And then she started crawling.
But she
did the boot camp crawl.
Yeah, remember the one leg slide?
Yeah. Oh no, the monkey crawl. Where she had her arms and she would scoot herself up with the leg. I'm over here describing it. Yeah, it's the monkey crawl. Oh, okay. The boot camp is this way.
Gotcha. Okay.
She did the monkey crawl.
I wondered, and we were like, I don't know. Is that what's the problem here?
Right.
And you're like, no, that's just how some kids crawl.
That's how she's crawling.
So who was the one that just started walking? Did any of our kids just start walking? They all, okay. Someone was faster than the other though. Aaron's always faster at things. Aaron is a go-getter. Yeah. He crawled, he walked. Yeah, he walked. Yeah, I want to say he crawled for a little bit and just
then
got up.
Got up and started walking. Yeah. Bella crawled, but it's similar with Bella though, because we went from not seeing any action from her.
Crazy.
To all of a sudden,
everything, the milestones just came like boom, boom, and boom.
She started crawling, and then she walked on her birthday.
Yeah, she did. She did.
Because I remember a couple days before that, you sent me a video. I was at work, and I started crying because I was like, I'm going to miss her first steps.
Yeah, she stood up. And
we just all happened to be in the kitchen.
She just stood up that day, though. She just stood up and rocking back and forth. And yeah, on her first birthday, she took a step and she just went.
Yeah. But another concern arose, whatever, where she would walk, but she was sliding the other foot, remember?
Right, yes.
And so what was that about, right? Because she hadn't been doing anything this whole entire time. And all of a sudden now we're noticing.
She's like she had a flat foot. You know how you have, what is that called? Oh my God. I don't want to offend anybody. But it was just like she would just slam her foot on the floor, and she would drag it and slam it on the floor and drag it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She was doing
it's
that.
It's like you see them in the ghost movies where they're walking, or the zombie movies, something similar to that. So, of course, we bring that concern up. And by this time, we have a new county worker. So the new county worker then puts a referral in for her.
That's what I just hate about it, because every time you want to do something, you always got to go through the red tape, and then that red tape, and you got to get consent, and you got to get this signed off, and all of the things that remind you that you're just a foster parent. Because if you go in there with quote unquote your
own children,
there is no red tape.
There's no red flags. Red tape, right? Or any
right. You just go in and
you talk to your pediatrician,
and you get it done.
Address your concerns, and boom.
And then not even that, it got to the point where you constantly are on the phone with someone, and you're just like, I just did this. We just talked about this. Like they're waiting for you to sign the paper, the documentation. It's just it.
I feel like in that sense, it was tough with Bella, because it was just me fighting for her to get what she needed, and nobody was listening. And that was hard for me.
Because it's always, you're just a foster parent.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess the bottom line for that, just continue to fight. If you see concerns in your kids,
voice your opinion.
You're their advocate. You have to continue to fight, even with schooling. Even with
that's a whole nother story
right
that we would have to go into another. That's a whole pod by itself.
Yeah, it's
especially with Bella.
You have to be the voice, because COVID messed a lot of kids up, right? And we're not going to get into it, but yeah, just when I say continue to fight, it just triggered that conversation of continuing to fight for your children, for your foster kids, because again, you are their voice. You are their voice. It's sad and sickening that they trust you, right? Bringing the kids into your home, but they don't trust you enough to
make
say
the decisions.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
And
I will say, be persistent about it. Don't back down. And I thank God that I just was persistent about it and continued. And we have a phenomenal pediatrician.
Oh, Kelly is the best.
Absolutely. At that time, it was both Kelly and Dr. Archer.
Yeah, well, Dr. Archer just talks so much for me. I love Dr. Archer, but he just talks. Just talks a lot. I like him, though.
Both of them together helped me fight for Bella.
Yes, they did. And
so addressing it, and I always, even now, in my work, I always say, go to the pediatrician. They're going to be your best ally, right? They're going to write those letters that you need for recommendations for whatever you need. And that's exactly what I did. And again, another pod will talk solely on Bella's, the fight for education and all that stuff. But Bella's court stuff was not easy.
The noise. Go ahead.
Bella's court stuff was not easy. We literally fought 2.5 years. Her county worker retired, didn't do half the things that she needed to do.
We had to kind of start over.
And we literally started from, if we just got her.
Yeah.
We had numerous of family members stepping up that didn't, because there's criteria that back then, that you had to do, right? You had to do background checks, you had to do home checks, you had to do this, you had to do that. And there was family members that weren't like eligible to take her.
Always knew that if Bella would have went back to certain places, she probably wouldn't have thrived in
100%.
In that environment.
No.
And
because they would have, we've seen it.
They wouldn't have never took the steps that they needed to take.
And we've seen it with her siblings.
Right.
So, like, it just is, it wouldn't have ended well. But every time we went to court, it seemed like we were in court every month. And
with
every
Bella,
time,
it seemed like we were in court a lot.
And every time we went to court, there was a new family member.
Yeah.
And at one point, remember one time there was, oh my God, like
there was 3 people.
No, there was 6 people.
But they wouldn't let them all in. So it was 3. So it was 3. Yes, you're right. There were 6 people in there.
It was like a whole entourage.
But they were like, okay, everybody can't. Who are you? They were like, who are you? And who are you?
And why? Who are you? What's going on? And like they were all trying to get.
This is the point when we did not have Dan yet because we were still.
No, that's when we had started seeking him out.
This was after 12 months?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if did we say that after 12 months you have right?
No, we
didn't okay, so that. Do you want to say that now? Because we're in the court now. We're talking about court.
So legally, if you've had the child in your care for a year, 12 months, you then have rights as a foster parent.
You can go get a lawyer. Or they
can appoint you a lawyer. And you can then have a say in court. Prior to that, you legitly don't say anything in court. You just speak to the county and or your agency.
And that's it.
And that is it. Like, unless the judge asks you any questions, there's no talking.
You don't speak, boo.
But after a year, you have a whole lot to say so. And so this was after she turned a year.
Yeah.
And it was so bad.
It was so because we never knew what we were going to go in to court
stressful,
for.
So many tears.
We walked out of Bella's always out of court drained because it was just a show.
It was like a circus.
It was a show. It was a show. And not to get into too much because I don't want to put too much out there. But
this is the exact thing of having to fight, right? Mm-hmm. You kind of have to put your feelings aside and your emotions and kind of just hit the ground running and fighting for what's right.
Yeah.
We fought hard for Bella. And so at the end, all of the people were not eligible or qualified or whatever deemed safe to have her. So, and mind you, she was only supposed to be a 10-day stay.
Yeah, I forgot about that. She was a 10-day stay. And we were like, okay.
Right.
Okay, cool. 10-day stay.
Right. So then the aunt fought us to the end, man. She fought us.
So this is the first one we had to go to trial for.
Yes.
Never we even went to mediation with her. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And mediation was. Did we speak in mediation?
We did.
And even Dan spoke. It's a lot of people on that side, on our side, because I remember we were at the table.
That's when
it was like a long table, like something like this.
That's when Jamie came aboard.
Right, because Jamie was the understudy of Dan because of the conflict. So he told her everything that was going on. Yeah, we went to mediation. We did a lot. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I even sat in on visits with Bella and her mom.
Because they want
her mom how to interact with Bella.
Yeah, I remember that. That was tough.
That was hard for me.
I forgot you did that.
That was hard for me.
I'm going to teach you how to interact with your child.
Right.
Quote unquote your child.
I did that for weeks.
And then, yeah.
And so the aunt, we went to trial. The aunt put her foot in her mouth. Things were said that shouldn't have ever in the...
Yeah, we'll just leave that there.
This
it
world.
Never should have been said.
Right.
So,
And
that being said, the judge was like...
She kicked us all out of the courtroom.
She was like, okay, everybody out. We're like, what just happened?
Like, it was just so, like, boom. And all of a sudden, you seen everybody. And then she was like, counsel to
the chambers
now.
And we were like,
ooh.
What just happened?
So, me and you were in the hallway, like in the waiting area. And I remember Hosanna.
Okay, you are. This is a lie.
I know.
Okay, you can't have long pauses like that.
I remember Hosanna, the song.
Hosanna.
Yes, and we would sing it to Bella. Hosanna. We would sing it to her, and she would, in her own language, sing it back to us. So for some reason, I just like out of the blue, just started humming it. And then here comes our lawyer. All the lawyers start coming out of the courtroom.
We looking at her face like, okay.
I know, like, what's going on?
And she's like, she's good with no face. She's good with no. She gives no expression. She gives no expressions. And I'm trying to look.
So me and
looking at her.
So we're looking and we're like, oh my God, this is it. Like, what?
Oh God, she's going back.
So then she's like,
she came up. We stood up.
Mm-hmm.
She came up and she was like, "Are you ready?"
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, ready for what?
But
and
prior
when did she
to
say
that, remember
she's
they
yours
granted,
or something like that?
Remember prior to that though, like maybe
they granted her freaking overnights.
No, not overnights. She never had overnights. She had all day visits.
Yes, not
where she was gone for 6 hours.
Yes, my bad. Not overnights. I'm thinking of yes. Yeah.
And
I forgot about
made
that.
Me sick to my stomach.
Because she came back, one, I don't know who's going to be listening to this, but one, she didn't, yeah. That was,
yeah, she was sick all the time.
Because Bella can't eat.
Bella's not
candy and sweets and junk, and that's all they fed her. And Bella would come home throwing up.
I mean, she's a snacker, but she's a snacker on things that we buy her.
She doesn't do
well with snacks.
Remember the first time we went down and changing a little bit? We went to CT and she got sick because she ate all of the candy, the cupcakes. She can't eat that stuff.
Yeah,
and that's what she used to eat over there often.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what did you eat today? They fed me this. I'm like, yeah, my stomach hurts. I bet it does.
Yeah, she would be so sick.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so fast forward again. So Jamie comes out and she's just like, they're gonna surrender.
We were like, what?
Yep. And that was in March.
Yeah.
That was in March 2000.
Oh no, the picture's over there.
15.
Yeah, because she was in care.
Because it was right before Aaron's adoption.
Right, you're right.
Because she was adopted in 2016.
Right.
Aaron was adopted in 2015.
So Bella was born, not going to give you the date, the year 2000 and what? 12, right? She didn't get adopted until
2016.
So that should tell you 4 years. 4 years in care is ridiculous.
Well, we got one that I know.
I'm just saying. I'm just speaking it here.
And we'll say this again with the other children.
Yeah, 4 years in care is ridiculous for any child to be waiting to get adopted. It should be at least 2 years. At least. What is... He's what? Oh, okay. At least. It's just ridiculous. We're looking at something on camera. I'm going to go and see, and you can talk.
So yeah, and then we signed the surrender, which was a long time coming. the best day of our lives, obviously. And it was such a big relief for us that we literally took her out of school. And we couldn't, I mean, first of all, we couldn't wait to go get her. And we took her out of school early. And we were just like, we held her so tight. Because then we knew, one, that her and Aaron's bond would not be broken, right? And they would continue to be brother and sister. And we knew that she was safe. And we would be her forever family. And that's my girl right there. So, yeah. It's been a journey with those two. But again, I can't stress it enough. Making sure you have, you're asking the questions, making sure you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's, and, being that advocate and pushing for what's right. If you feel it in your gut, you have to go for it. Like, you have to ask those questions. You have to, even if you're being aggressive about it because nobody's listening, then you go further. You go to that person above that person. I've gotten in, I'm not proud, but I've gotten into a few arguments with the county and workers because I'm just not a foster parent. You dropped these children off. You allowed these children to be in my home. The minute they walk through this door or brought through this door, they're part of our families from the day one. So always asking those questions and making sure, because if they're under your roof, then you know what's right.
For sure. I'm back. Sorry. But I don't want to beat a dead horse and repeating ourselves. But just again,
But you'll hear that over because I can't stress it enough.
Right.
And we've made our mistakes along the way, but we've also learned that is what's important, is just advocating for what's right for these kids.
For sure. And not even that. Let's be quite honest. Having 2 kids or 4 kids in the household at the time when we did this with Aaron and Bella, Alyssa and Haley, you have to take time out for yourselves. You do. Because life will get away from you. And your life is just about your children. And I had to explain that to Leilani, because Leilani will be just, I'm a mom. I'm like, yeah, you are, but also you're a wife, and we need to go on a date night. So if you're doing this and you're with someone and, you're married, if not, you're not with someone, and you can have that time of yourself and just self-care. Yeah, self-care is very important. You got to be your best self in order to be a best mom, or you know what I'm saying, or best dad, or whatever the case may be.
Right. But we can get into that too. That could be another pod, because that's important. There's, from our experiences and what we've been through.
Yeah, for sure.
We can speak about what we have been through and how,
things get the best of you. Yeah.
Right. And it could cause
friction
and distance.
Yeah. It has. It'll be
so, I mean, and a lot of it doesn't necessarily mean the children. It could just be the stress of the courts and the workers and just
everybody. We'll say this too. You're gonna have so many workers coming to your house where you're just gonna be like, no more, not today. You're gonna be, I'm tired of you. I need to come to your house. Every 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And then not just that. Then
the county worker comes every 3 months, and
it's
then
just
if
a
there's
lot of
CPS
people.
worker because the case isn't completely closed yet with CPS, then they're also coming into your home to check out the kiddos and making sure that everything's being done for them. And it was
a lot, and I'm so happy we're done. Yeah, but that being said,
another pod.
Yeah, for sure. We have several pods to talk about.
Yeah.
But this one was just Bella, and the next one might be just them in the structure of the house, because we don't have any more kids. Oh, we do. I'm sorry.
Journey.
We have Journey.
Yeah, but there's a gap.
Yeah.
There's a gap. So we can talk about how we fought for like educational needs and stuff like that.
Oh, daycare. Yeah, all that.
Daycare, asthma,
Yeah.
learning disability.
Yes.
You know, all
yes.
that stuff.
And it's not just that. Aaron, ADHD.
Yeah,
I had to walk and had to
right.
realize that
There's a lot. There's
yeah,
a lot.
so we're going to get
There's a
into
lot.
all of that. Please continue to listen to us. If anybody is out there fostering, we're not trying to deter you from being a foster parent at all.
No.
We're just trying to equip you with some knowledge that we have, and we're not bitter foster parents.
No.
We're not bitter adoptive parents.
I'm very grateful for the experiences we went through, because then now I can help somebody else, right? I work in the field, so I help tons of people on a regular with just from my experience or our experience being able to prepare them for what's next.
I'm not going to lie to you. At times, if you caught me at a court case, after a court case, I probably would have been bitter. But, you know what I'm saying? But,
well, I mean, because it's stressful.
It's definitely stressful. But, like I said, this is episode 2 of The Journeys of Us. Please continue to listen, subscribe. Yeah, all that good stuff.
Questions, please let us know. We can
email me at tiffestelle81@gmail.com. Please feel free to email me, or Leilani if you want to give yours. You don't have to. Email me. I'm good with it. So peace, y'all. And always one love. No, nothing from you? No? Okay. Bye, y'all.